Hello and welcome to the fourth in this series of podcasts from the Coalition for Life Course Immunisation, the CLCI. My name is Gary Finnegan. I'm a health journalist and editor of Vaccines Today, and I'm also a trustee of the CLCI. This series explores how to make life course immunisation a reality in Europe. The CLCI has published a manifesto setting out the steps that need to be taken to make life course immunisation a reality for people of all ages right across Europe, protecting them against infectious diseases. Today, we're joined by Andrea Gerosa, founder of ThinkYoung, to talk about how vaccination can be a societal good and how engaging with younger people could help to improve public perceptions and increase the impact of vaccination. Welcome, Andrea. Nice to have you with us.
Thank you, Gary, for hosting.
So on the podcast so far in this series, we've spoken to politicians and economists, health professionals about how the vaccine conversation should progress if we want to make the most of life course immunisation. But what role do you see for civil society organisations such as ThinkYoung, which you founded?
Well, I mean, the role of civil society, it's clearly to try to have a conversation which is a bit closer to the citizen. No, I mean, civil society is seen as a trustworthy, let's say, group of organization and individuals as well are usually closer to citizen, are usually in contact with them. Specifically about us, we are our focus group and our target are young people as young as 80 years old and up to what we call young adults, so 25, 26, 28 years old. This is the population we look at. We try to talk to. We try to help with different projects, and that is the role of ThinkYoung.
So, what are some of the barriers that younger people face when it comes to being vaccinated?
Well, I mean, it really depends where they're from, of course. Some countries make it easier, first of all. Some countries make it easier to inform their citizens and young people, make it easier for them to get it, etc. We have done, in the last 6-7 years of work, a couple of research ourselves and obviously talked to many young people. There is clearly a strong demand by new generation, and not just in healthcare, in many things, for more technology and more technological friendly kind of information, portability of information, understanding what thing is. So we have been advocating a lot for this in the last years. And one thing that I think was clear, and we think it was clear for during the pandemic when everybody got on board to try to solve a big problem, was that technology was used as an enabler for disseminating information, make sure you could easily find where to get a test, etc., etc., etc. Bring with you the information about your vaccination history for COVID, etc., etc., all over the world. If we could do more in that respect, and if we could invest more in technology, that would definitely enable more young people of any class, of any region, of any, everyone has a smartphone today, to definitely understand better, protect themselves better, and inform themselves better, which is the most important thing, to inform themselves and then take their own decision. That's technological friendly approach that it's still missing, and it's very much demanded. It is very much demanded.
That's interesting. So from what you're saying, technology can make it a more democratic, inclusive conversation because rural communities, city communities, everyone can do it. But that's in contrast to the usual complaint people make that social media has been not great for vaccine attitudes or even for democracy. But you maybe, because you're more connected to the community, see both sides of this?
Yes, I mean, the social media is an easy scapegoat for a million things. There are elections that the media don't like, or certain politicians don't like the results, and then they blame social media. But if they win, then it's thanks to social media, and they're very happy about social media. And the same, technology historically has always been a booster of something. When you use technology, it helps you go faster, more efficient, cheaper, and et cetera, et cetera. We all know the benefit of technology. So it is always a core message and how you do it and how you use technology. Social media has helped a lot at the same time to spread a lot of good information. Social media is very good for people to learn new things. We all do it. And on certain platform, we watch tutorials, we learn with webinars. So it is really how we use it on both sides, as a creator, if you want to call it like that, creator of information, to simplify, and as an end user. So obviously, it's new technology. You have to learn it. You have to learn how to use it. You have to learn how to communicate to the right people, to the right target people, how to do social media advertising. It becomes a job, a professional. You can improvise. You have to plan. But that's the same when TV came out, and people start watching TV instead of listening to the radio. It was exactly the same conversation.
Oh, interesting. So access to smartphones, as you said, is universal, more or less, especially younger people, really for everyone. But how about access to vaccination? Do you see any differences in access to services across Europe, different countries, or urban versus rural and so on? Because I know I've heard you say before that young people is not one single group, no more than older people or women or men. So are there differences across the community of younger people in Europe?
Of course. I mean, that's we all know it, and it's just about young people, as you said. Rural or living in a city or in a big city, the access, it's clearly very much there. It is, at the end of the day, if we want to simplify a logistical problem. But that again, I think it comes after make sure we inform everybody of what we're talking about, make sure everybody take responsibility for himself or herself, their families first, their community then. And once we're all, then we kind of go beyond certain barrier, which are there. The access is clearly there. So yes, if it's easier, the access, we can definitely reach out to more people. We can ensure more people understand the benefit of vaccination and then end up doing it. But exactly what I just said, the understanding the benefit is one part, and then the taking the action is the second part. The second part is what you said, the access. From our point of view, that comes really as a second step compared to, I'm convinced this is the right thing. I want to do it. Hence, I look where to do it. And when I look where to do it, then when I face the problem of, is the access easy or it's complicated? And then, of course, we need to make it easier. But from our point of view, that really comes after. It's really more about the convincing themselves. And we also saw it, especially, you mentioned before, social media. Social media today, if you take an individual citizen, allow them to be very vocal about certain things. And study proved the most difficult people to convince about any topic, it's when they become extremely vocal about it, they become almost an ambassador about something, and then they put their face so publicly out about, I'm against certain vaccination, or I'm against certain policies, or I'm against whatever it is, then route to people to actually step back, not into changing their opinion, but at least in having a conversation where they are open to listening to new ideas and just inform themselves. Then they can take whatever decision they want. That step back, once you become public about what you really believe, that is really, really difficult. And that is really when we're really talking about, if you look at statistics, we're really talking about the outliers and the extreme, but still we want to have as many as possible. But that's the part where it becomes difficult to bring back people that have been so vocal about their position that they kind of don't want to lose face with themselves first and with their community after. So that is where you need to be good at try. And then that's difficult because social media allows for very extreme opinion because you're not in the same room. So you can be, you're talking to strangers sometimes. So you can be very extreme because extreme get more reaction. So you like to get the reaction, but then, so that's where we need to work on, in the kind of narrative, the kind of conversation we're having, again, to bring back people to be open-minded to listen, before thinking I'm going to convince you of, you're against something, you should be in favor. But just be open-minded to listen. That's very, very, very difficult.
And are there ways to encourage younger people to become ambassadors for vaccination or for health in general?
We have been doing it, and obviously there are some that are more keen to it. Usually it comes from their personal stories and their personal life. Usually what you look at, it's what they're called sometimes micro influencer, meaning people who have a strong fan base and reaction, even from a very smaller community. So it doesn't have to be this mega influencer with millions of followers. Can also be few thousand or a few hundred. But if you have a lot of reaction, it's what it's called this micro influencer, and it's obviously it always comes from a personal drive, a personal passion. That's what you look at for them to be, at least again, online ambassador. And then in what we have been doing with our coalition, Young Coalition for Prevention and Vaccination, is to really try to also help them get out, not just online, but also offline. So attend conferences, go and speak about their story, go out to community, attend panel discussion. That has been historically one of the mission of ThinkYoung, even aside from the vaccine topic, try to bring young people on the stage and put young people on the stage, put young people on TV, put young people in panel discussion at the European Parliament. That we have been doing it for many topics that we study and research, and then we try to put faces in front, and that we've been doing it also in vaccination, but not only, yes.
Some of the people in your coalition are patients or other advocates, but many of them are also young health professionals, pharmacists and doctors, nurses. And sometimes people say that even in medical education now, there's not so much focus on measles and HPV and other diseases. How important are younger generations of health professionals to changing the conversation about vaccines?
Well, we obviously think they're very important. That's why we're doing it. There are many reasons behind it. First, the technological aspect. They're very able to understand, quickly react. Second, young people, more and more, people say the general opinion about the new generation is that they are detached from politics and this kind of debate, and they don't turn out at voting, etc., etc. What we see is that young people get engaged with their community, their society, in a different way. So maybe they don't join a party or they don't join a union. A union numbers, membership are going very much down. Party is the same. But they very much join non-profit organization. They very much travel to places in need to help out. They very much work in their community to help out kids who are in need. So they show their community and their societal interest, their civic action in a completely different way, which is way more concrete, way more impactful than the traditional politics. And I'm saying this because then obviously that translates into a group of people, the young one, which we work a lot with, which if they care about something, they can be very powerful and impactful and go out and do things. And that's the second reason why we do it. And the third reason I'd say it's because obviously you are making an investment which is more medium long term when you talk to someone who is in his late 20s, early 30s, because you're talking about young professionals. So that's more or less the target group. And obviously, you know that when you make an investment in them, in whatever topic and in whatever activity, they clearly will hold that ambassador role somehow for the rest of their life, if they believe in it, if you're honest with the conversation you're having with them, etc., etc. So it's also a medium long-term approach, which we tend to have and we like to have whenever we work, and we see it. We see people. ThinkYoung started now a good 14 years ago almost, and people, they were in their 30s or late 20s 14 years ago. Now they are 40 plus, and they start to be in a position of management. They start to be in a decision power position, whether it's in the public, in the private sector, or whatever. And then that's, you really, the investment you made on them it capitalized through time, like, every investment. And that really helps a lot. So we believe it's the right way to do it. Again, not just in vaccination, in many other projects we do, technology, education, empowerment, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Great. And finally, then, in the near future, what plans has ThinkYoung got for the next few months or the next period?
Well, thank you for the question. We did a lot of research on, we're talking about vaccination. We did a lot of research before COVID, and then we created this coalition, which was very active. The COVID came, so we transitioned everything online, of course, a lot of webinars, a lot of online hackathon and conversation online. When COVID finished, we started doing in small groups, gathering again. And then last year, we organized a conference called Europe's Tomorrow, which talks about the future of European healthcare and vaccination, especially. The first edition was in Brussels. Big success, people coming from all over Europe to debate in a very open format, very youth-friendly, very fresh format, any topic that relate to healthcare and vaccination. We're very happy to confirm not just that there is a second edition of this event coming this year, so it can become a recurrent yearly event, but also we decided with our partners to tour around Europe. So not just to stay in Brussels, which is obviously the capital of Europe, European Parliament, European Commission, and so on and so forth, but to bring this also to local communities. So this year, in December, beginning of December, we will be in Poland, and that will be the second edition of the Europe's Tomorrow conference, where obviously everyone is invited. It's free of charge. You can see many young people there, many young professionals who work in healthcare and vaccination, startup who work in the field, experts from all over Europe gathering there, and so looking forward to it. Obviously, you find it on all our social media channel, website. You can reach out to us there and ask more information on to get a ticket, etc., etc., etc.
Fantastic. So thinkyoung.eu, am I right? Is that the website still? Okay, so check it out. Brilliant.
That's still both .eu and .org. We get both.
Brilliant. Great. Thanks so much for that, and looking forward to the event, and thanks for joining us today, and thanks to everyone who listened and watched online. Don't forget to join us next month. We'll be putting the spotlight on innovative access to vaccination. So subscribe and make sure you see the next episode as soon as it's out. For now, thanks and goodbye, and catch us on social media and all the usual places. Thanks again, Andrea.
Thank you, Gary.